This morning I'm driving to Corpus Christi to join John on Kinderspel for a regatta from Corpus Christi Marina to Port Aransas. It's actually a 2-day regatta, but I'm only participating in day 1. By now you guys know that my day doesn't start until I've had coffee, even if it means a pit stop at a gas station. It was far from my usual flat white, but the caffeine hit was just about the same. A few days ago, I got a call from John to jump on his J105 for a race to Port Aransas. I was excited about the opportunity, which meant I was out the door early this morning. The drive to the marina always puts me in a good mood. No matter the weather, the water looks inviting and there's something peaceful about the area. The morning started with a few projects, which included taking the sails from their bags. First up was the headsail. Once we got the battens in place, we hoisted the jib up and furled it in. While all this was going on, Russell was busy running the spinnaker lines. The whole process only took us a few minutes, but it's really important to get everything prepped correctly, which can make a huge difference once the starting horn is blown. We did the exact same process for the mainsail, except this time we just rolled it up neatly and tied it to the boom so it wouldn't be flapping around while we were still in the marina. The preparation is like getting a race car ready just before hitting the track. Every little detail counts. Once the sails were in place, we were ready to pull out of the slip. Fenders were up on one side, but we had one final task to complete, which was a stop at the pump-out station to empty the marine head. Not the most glorious part of boating, but a necessary job with 8 people on board. Once that was done, we were properly on our way. We didn't want to get caught behind schedule, so we made a dash to get out of the breakwater and join the other boats filling around the committee boat. As soon as we cleared the cut and hit the open water, we got a taste of what the day had in store. Waves were crashing over the bow, soaking everyone. From that point on, it was nearly impossible to stay dry, so we just accepted the fact that we were going to be wet the entire day. The area around the race committee boat was a flurry of activity, with boats weaving around, trying to get in the perfect position for the start. I noticed a couple trimarans in the area early on. Then, moments later, we saw one of them with its mast down. It didn't look like they were panicking on board, but something definitely didn't go as planned. I just hope they took it down intentionally and it didn't collapse. This is a reminder how quickly things can change out on the water. The starting sequence is pretty intense and still a bit confusing to me. We had another boat really close to us as we approached the line. John did a great job of stalling just enough so we didn't cross the starting line too early, but also not too late. And thankfully, we managed to avoid hitting anybody else, although we were really close to the committee boat. John nailed the start, which gave us an advantage right from the beginning. Here are some cool shots of the crew with their legs out over the side to keep the boat flat, and a slow motion view of us leaving Corpus Christi behind. Once we were underway, it was mostly an upwind beat. I was nearest Russell, who was working the foredeck, constantly making adjustments forward of the mast to ensure we stayed perfectly trimmed. His main role was hoisting and dousing the spinnaker. I tried to get a few different angles, but the camera just doesn't quite capture how vibrant and grand or massive the spinnaker truly is. Even though the race was mostly upwind, there were race marks that required us to sail back towards Corpus Christi, which is why you see us sailing downwind. There's a lot of wellheads in the bay, and we sailed past quite a few during the race. After rounding the downwind mark, the spinnaker came down and we were headed upwind towards Port Aransas again. The crew was back on the rail, leaning out to keep the boat balanced, and I used the selfie stick to try to give you a better perspective of everyone working together. As we entered the ship channel, we passed a shrimp boat with its nets out, a huge dredge doing its thing, and a bunch of other commercial vessels going about their own business. Then we came up alongside a monohull which was racing in the working sail class. We passed them pretty close, which allowed for some friendly banter as we passed them. It's always fun to connect with other sailors out there. Aside from a solo trimaran that was well ahead, we were now in the lead. But there was another J105 hot on our tail, so we couldn't afford to make any mistakes. Comfortably in the calm of the ship channel, we took a quick pause to grab a sandwich. I wasn't particularly hungry, but the sandwich looked too good to say no. Through this area, I grabbed some random shops of buoys, big ships passing by, and spoil islands that were created from dredging. As we got closer to Port Aransas, we saw dozens of dolphins. Seriously, they were everywhere, but most of them kept their distance. However, I managed to get a few clips of a few that breached the water next to the boat. It almost felt like they were the Port Aransas welcoming committee. It wasn't long before we spotted the race committee boat again, which meant the finish line was near. As soon as we heard the blast of the finish horn, the crew erupted in cheers. We knew we had sailed a strong race and we were confident we had done well. Coming into Port Aransas is always scenic, passing the jetties and seeing the ferry go back and forth, and there was even more dolphins. We got the mainsail rowed up, fenders out to protect the hull, and then we docked Kinderspel under slip for the night. After a long day, my first mission was to find a bathroom. When I got back to the boat, the visitors' dock was already buzzing with activity. The other boats had arrived and the crews were hanging out, sharing stories and tidying up their own boats. John raised his Flemish flag, a tradition on his boat, along with the J105 class insignia. With John leading the way, we all walked over to the pavilion where the after-race party was taking place. At the pavilion, the Corpus Christi Yacht Club prepared a self-serve hamburger buffet. I loaded my plate with more than I could eat, but it wasn't from a lack of trying. Once everyone made their plate, they started the award announcements. Not only did Kinderspel win first place in the all-sails class, but they also won the Pontiac Award, which was given to the fastest overall time in the regatta, which was pretty darn awesome.
In first place, Kinderspel.
All in all, it was a great day, and winning was icing on the cake. I hope you enjoyed this adventure. If you did, you can help me grow my channel by smashing the like button, subscribing if you haven't already, and leave a comment below. All this improves viewer engagement on YouTube, which is the only way the algorithm will push my videos to even more people. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time when I post a tour of my very own Beneteau 235, which is now for sale.